The debate is over, and if we're judging this by who sounded confident, you can probably argue either side. But if we're judging it by who actually supported their claims with evidence and logical reasoning, this wasn't even close. Andrew Wilson came prepared to challenge Candace Owens on her theories surrounding Charlie Kirk's assassination. Candace landed a few gotcha moments and knew how to work the audience. But whenever Andrew pressed her on her central question, what evidence actually connects Erika Kirk, TPUSA, Israel, or the French government to this? The answers seemed to disappear into more questions, speculation, and circular arguments. So today, we're breaking down the debate from every angle, where Andrew succeeded, where Candace caught him off guard, and whether either one actually moved the conversation forward. Then I'll give you my honest determination of who won. But I want to hear from your verdict too. Did Andrew Wilson dismantle Candace Owens' case, or did Candace raise legitimate questions that he simply couldn't answer? This was the topic of the day. This was the podcast to watch. And I want to start off with just by looking at the sheer numbers of it all. Let's find out what's going on. Where, if you watched it, I'm assuming you did, where'd you watch it from? Did you watch it on Candace's channel? Did you watch it on Andrew's channel? Did you watch it on Patrick Bet David's channel? Or did you watch it from some other streamer that was just giving a reaction and just streaming it along the way? I gotta be honest, where I watched it at. I watched it at Candace's channel, but not necessarily and not at all, actually. I was not supporting Candace, but it was on her, it was her podcast, it was her house, it was her studio. I didn't want to miss anything. And I know I'm probably going to watch it from the Crucible, Andrew's channel, at Patrick Bet David. I'm going to watch it multiple times, I'm sure. But I wanted to see it from there because that was ground zero, where it was happening at. I did not want to miss anything. And I also got to see her audience, her fans, the reactions that they had, the things that they were saying. And I threw a couple comments myself in, just to shake it up a bit. But the numbers, the sheer numbers of it, Candace is right now currently 2,660,000 views at this current point. So it's still Friday. Patrick Bet David's channel, he's at look right now 1.1 million views right now. Andrew Wilson, right now he's at about 350,000 ish views. So you can see that the numbers volume, and we got to take into account there's bots and all that, but everybody, that is an equal playing field. Everybody's got bots. Bots flood it, probably from foreign governments, probably from Candace's own her team or whatever. They probably do something like that as well. Andrew might do that. Patrick Bet David. Everybody throws in it, or maybe they're playing it just straight and steady. Wins the race. I don't know. Who knows? They might be just letting it play out, doing all the thing. But just the numbers volume. And I saw that the people in Candace's chat were like, "Oh, we got 100,000 right now. We're almost 130." I mean, at its pinnacle in Candace's channel, it probably got maybe up to close to 300,000. It looked like 280-some thousand concurrent viewers, and they're just ragging on Andrew Wilson. Obviously, Andrew Wilson, he's not as big of a name as Candace Owens. He doesn't have the platform as Candace Owens, and I don't know. I just see it right now as Candace Owens. She's got a tribe. She's got people that are following her and that will almost die for her. She's got her sleuths that will go out there and just get her some evidence or get her some hearsay, just follow people around, stalk them a bit. She's got a team, not just her own internal team. She's got people. It reminds me of the movie Fight Club. She's got people everywhere. They're watching you. I mean, I wouldn't mind having that, I'd be like Tyler Durden, you got people that, they're going to do your bidding. They're just out there, taking care of you, taking care of business. But just sheer numbers volume, there's no question Candace has got that right now. But is that all that matters? And just because you have the numbers and you have so many people that are crazy for you and believe anything you say, does that mean you're in the right? Let's take this biblically. Jesus said, the road is broad that leads to destruction, and the path is narrow that leads to life, and very few find it. So I would just throw that out there just as a thing. Don't stick your hat on, I'm with the mob. I'm with the crazies. I'm with everybody out here. And like, we got a party going. So that must mean I'm on the right side. I'm on the right. Here we go, baby. Woo! Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, I'm not going to dog anyone's numbers. If you got numbers, heck yeah, baby. That's awesome. I'm proud of you. That's great. Because, I mean, I go back to, like, Charles Haddon Spurgeon. He's a preacher from England in the, 19th century. He said, like, people get all up in arms, like, oh, you're just bringing people in to come to your church. You're, like, paying them. You're charging tickets or whatever. And people just, other preachers messing with him and saying, oh, you really don't got anything going. You're just, like, all razzle-dazzle. And he's like, those are the people, if people aren't realizing to get some commotion going, you got to get the wheels going. You got to get it churning. Dust has got to be flying. So it's from both angles. Just because you have the numbers doesn't mean that you're in the right. And just because you don't have the numbers doesn't mean you're in the right. There's got to be a balance. And I think a wisdom outside of this recognizes both sides. And that's what I wanted to mainly point out about that, because the numbers game is what it is. You can't dog someone's numbers and think that you're in the right on either side. All right. But I want to take a look at and we're going to break this down. The whole debate, it was tough to watch. Andrew pressed her on a lot of different things, and they had their whole contract set up. It sounded like that Candace couldn't really ask Andrew questions because Andrew was paying to be there. He put up $300,000, and he's also tried to raise money to fund that himself. How all that happened, but she just kept casting aspersions, casting doubt, saying like, you are a pawn of TPUSA. You're put here. You're their workhorse. That's why you're here. All right, but let's actually dive into this. We're gonna skip a little bit ahead because at the beginning, like the first half of the debate, it was all about, is Tyler Robinson the shooter? But Candace said that she gave it a 0% chance that Tyler Robinson's the shooter, which is, I mean, at least I would say, even if you were firmly believing that, you got to at least give 1%, I mean, there's 1% anybody could have been, if we don't know who it is, and they don't have an alibi. Where were you exactly? Do you have time travel? Can you teleport anywhere? We don't know that you can't do that. So everybody's a suspect. Everybody's a suspect. I'm, as you can see, I am wearing Scream. Everybody's a suspect. I got Scream on, Ghostface. No one's off limits. Everyone is. And it's always who you most medium suspect is the real killer. So the whole first half of the debate, it was all about Tyler Robinson. And I think that is what Candace Owens wanted to stay on. She did not want to move past that. But where it got interesting was pretty much halfway through the debate where Andrew Wilson wanted to switch gears and he wanted to turn things to her blanket accusations and claims that she's been making on this whole journey, this roller coaster of, it started with the bee people. I can't say a word. The bee people. What were they called? Beekeepers? And then the maroon shirts, and it's kind of expanded. The Egyptian planes. We've heard all this. The litany of people who are thrown into this, suspect list. And it's devolved into Erika Kirk, TPUSA. Although TPUSA was kind of on in Candace Owens' crosshairs from the beginning. If you've been locked in. From the beginning, for some reason, TPUSA, she thought that Charlie Kirk was betrayed immediately. But so how this has gone about. So she started with blanket accusing everyone, and then Andrew Wilson, he wants to change it. He wants to switch from stop talking about the Tyler Robinson. That's important and all. That's very important. But what he's more concerned about is, what is your answer to the claims you've been making, the evidence you have of supporting about Erika Kirk being involved, TPUSA, Israel, the French government? Where's your evidence? And how are you reaching those conclusions based on the evidence? All right, but let's take a look at this. This is where it really got exciting.
I think France and Israel are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I'm going to put that out there with full confidence.
Okay.
They also
involvement.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you think you with full confidence, you think that
I think
that
Israel's
France
involved.
and Israel.
Yeah, I mean, the person that gave me that thing that I reported said that French Foreign Legion were on the ground that day.
Mhm.
Again, this would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that information that I handed over. I can't do that. I'm not
But
the
you
United
don't have
States
any
government.
positive evidence of
Okay,
that,
okay.
right?
Liz, I don't. Can you just stop? It's actually just like annoying to hear you keep saying.
Over and over, Candace kept getting very irritated at Andrew Wilson and just was very defensive. Immediately, like the very beginning, when they gave their opening remarks, Andrew Wilson gave a whole diatribe of what he thinks happened and what he's there to defend and all that. And the first words out of Candace's mouth were, "Did you get that all out of your system?" That's the way she approached all of this. Like, this is beneath me. I'm here because I'm here to collect. Give me my money, and I will be on my way. Actually, you will be on your way. Get out of my house. That's the way it's felt from the beginning.
Positive evidence. I've just asked me what I think, and I just tell you, yes, I think they are
that's
involved.
That's a claim.
No, I said here's what I think.
I have every right to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if there's positive evidence
in
for
this
your
statement,
claim,
I literally just said I think. And I am allowed to think. And
yeah,
you
you're
keep
allowed
saying,
to think,
you have
but you're making a
evidence?
claim.
I have tons of positive evidence that I'm allowed to think. Yes.
I agree. You're allowed to think.
Okay. So
nobody's disputing whether or not Candace Owens is allowed to think. What I'm asking is
that was the issue. She kept saying that you're saying I can't voice my opinion. I can't think. I need to remain quiet. I need to be silent. That's what you're trying to say. That's what you're trying to put a mouth guard over me so I can't speak. That's the kind of the what she kept raising and bringing up over and over.
What is your issue with this statement?
Evidence.
I think that Israel is involved.
That's not just what you said. You said it's with full confidence.
Yes.
You would think that if you had full
confidence, you have confidence to
think
when you think.
If I said, for instance, I think I'm going to be late to work, right, with full confidence, I would say my evidence for that is that I'm 20 minutes away and I need to be there in 5.
Andrew,
that's how you would know whether or not you had full confidence. I'm going to tell you something. Hang on, let me finish.
Sure.
If it was the case that I said I have full confidence I'm going to be late to work, I would say my evidence that I'm going to be is that work is 20 minutes away, right, and I have to be there in 5. So I have full confidence. That's why I would think that. So I'm asking, if you think that Israel and France were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you say with full confidence, I'm just asking for the evidence, or at least walk me through the mindset of why it is that you could think that with evidence.
I actually don't have to walk you through why I think. I can give you something that I think with full confidence. I think with full confidence that you lost the substance of this debate, and now you're...
So that's the direction where she headed. She doesn't give any backup, any backup for her claims. Like, what she didn't want to get into like that. Like, going through the Tyler Robinson, she had some stuff she brought, like things that made you think. And I think that even all of us could get on board with. We don't know exactly what happened that day. We don't know who was involved, if there was more people than Tyler Robinson or whoever it was. Because even Andrew Wilson is like, he would give it a 70%-ish chance that based on the evidence we have so far, that it would be Tyler Robinson. Candace is 0%. But when it goes into the direction of the claims, and this is the issue, I think that anybody that has been critical about all of this, that has been following this, it's not necessarily that we're critical about saying about Tyler Robinson. If a man is innocent and he's being framed, he's not a patsy. And that was raised over and over, that is he a patsy? Is he was he being framed for this? Like, against his will? People are that are just throwing him in this and making him the fall guy. Is that what it is? And Candace Owens never got to, she would bring up evidence about the gun. It had some of his DNA, but it had other people's DNA. The debris in the gun, the barrel that had just been shot, but there's still debris in there, and just different things like that. But then, how do you get from there, all these things that you're saying, these circumstantial things, to that he's just a patsy? And she could never draw those lines of where how her mind is working, how she's coming to these conclusions, how she gets there. And I think that's what Andrew, and I think I am as well. I want to know, because I really don't think she believes this. In a weird technical way, a very Candace Owens technical way, she does not believe this. If we're talking about truth, actuality, I don't think she believes it. But she can say something and like she compartmentalize or whatever, compartmentalize that it's her truth, and she makes it be whatever truth it is, whatever she wants it to be. So she believes it in a compartmentalized way. That's the way she believes it, as opposed to the real truth, the actual truth. And I think that is what Andrew Wilson was driving home and trying to pin her on. That you don't believe this because you're not drawing logical inferences from how you're getting from A to Z. You're not showing it. You're not, and she would get defensive and saying, I don't need to. I don't need to tell you, let you explain. I don't need to explain my mind of how I'm getting to these conclusions. And that's kind of the direction, that's kind of how the whole debate went. But when Andrew Wilson brought up the whole TPUSA, Erika Kirk, Israel, like she says she has a source. It's always some source that told her this. And I mean, she says that it's because she's built up credibility with her audience. So she said some things that her audience knows that she's trustworthy based on some of the things. Because there are some things that she is able to get that other people don't necessarily have. But just to always leave it as my source gave me this information, said the French Legion was on the ground that day. There's probably like the CIA on the ground every day at any big event. It doesn't mean just because if someone was in Los Angeles that day or in Ontario or whatever, or Toronto or New York City, that like and a murder happens, that means you're the suspect of that murder. And to say like they were there that day or whatever, that means that they're involved. Could it be more that you are paranoid regarding the French government and your accusations of Emmanuel Macron and his wife? Is that more what's going on? And you're thinking that they want to assassinate you and that you're lumping them into this? It's like almost every one of her enemies. Like, I mean, like she even went to like Ben Shapiro because like he was getting text about like when his security team and Charlie Kirk's security team were texting each other what was happening. That means somehow Ben Shapiro was like somehow involved in something, or it's not even like she doesn't outwardly say it or explicitly say it, but it's just like a nod. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying. Just a wink and a nod to her audience. We know we don't know, but we know no. We like that's kind of where it goes. It's not never it's never ever just plain speak. It's all this innuendo and hinting at and secret, handshakes and all that. It's never just direct. It's like, and even whenever Andrew got to the point where he was just asking her directly, she's like, she fell back on, I don't want to get myself in any legal trouble. I don't want saying about TPUSA or Erika Kirk. I mean, how could you get yourself more? And you've already said these things. Why aren't you saying them now when someone's confronting you? That's kind of like the issue that I'm seeing. Like you're saying it in one place when you're by yourself on your audience, when you're going off a prompter and these things are being fed to you. I know she mixes it in. She says her real, what's on her mind, and then whatever's fed to her, whatever she's reading. It goes both ways. But when Andrew is asking her about the things that she's explicitly said on her show, she backs off and plays, I can't go there. I'll get myself into some trouble. And that's kind of how the whole conversation went. When we got into these claims that she's making, there were some gotcha moments. Like when the biggest one that stood out to me was just when Andrew at the end didn't know the charges, like the exact charges that Charlie Kirk has, not Charlie Kirk, but Charlie Kirk's murderer, Tyler Robinson, is facing, that he didn't know those point by point. And anybody can have a forgot moment. Like, I forget what exactly. I mean, you have hundreds of thousands of people watching you. It was almost like a presidential debate. You have all these eyes on you. Of course, anybody can forget something in a moment and not have it right in front of them. And it doesn't mean does that mean he lost the debate because he doesn't know? Because he said one of the charges was Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk, and she was like, no, it was like, what she used, like aggravated murder or something like that. I don't know. She said some type of like a very technical term of murder, but it was just one word in front of it. And that, like, even right there, like I watched it, but I mean, I didn't remember, like, and like even earlier today, like anybody can forget something. Doesn't mean that like they lost the debate over some technical word or whatever. But the overall and just bringing evidence and how you're going from one point to the other and logical reasoning, it seemed like Andrew Wilson had the upper hand by leaps and bounds. Candace Owens, definitely, she is. I don't think she's actually that smart. I mean, she's. I mean, on a general level, she's really smart. But like, what people give her credit for is she is more verbally smart. She can speak. She can articulate something. But I don't think it's actually the wheels are spinning in her mind that she's really putting it together. Some people can just talk. Some people can talk themselves out of anything. They can go from one thing to the other, weave it all together, and then ta-da, voila, blah, 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 here you go. And then it just comes out like, wow. And you're mesmerized. But really, because like the things that she's saying, it seems like it's just a complete grift. And it seems like that is why I see it, like people that are doing like on the internet, doing podcasts, doing just the news and all that. It's like some people are in it for the grift, and some people are really more principled. And it's like, and I see some people like Joe Rogan, like he kind of weaves in and out. It seems like he's principled on some things, but he's willing to throw his brain at the door, throw it against the wall, and believe some things. That's why when following this whole Charlie Kirk assassination case and the everything that's happening, it does, like, it makes me feel like I would see like Joe Rogan when he gets upset with people that believe flat Earth or some other conspiracy, like some other the one that really tees him off is flat Earth. That for some reason, that is the one he cannot handle. He doesn't even want to talk about that one. And if anyone brings it up, he gets in really like attack mode. And that's how I feel about this. Like, it's what people are saying about this whole Charlie Kirk assassination and where we're going with this. We can have questions, even like people that you really respect, like Rob O'Neill, the Navy SEAL sniper, a guy who killed Osama bin Laden. He has questions, and I respect his opinion. But like to have questions about how the shot that happened, or how Charlie Kirk was actually killed in front of us, how it actually happened, and then to not exactly know what happened, but to from that extrapolate that all these other people and all these organizations, countries, governments are involved, personalities are involved, like because that's what it seems like Candace Owens does. Like someone pisses her off, so she throws them in and lumps them in with this. You know, if you get on her bad side, she will she will watch you and say, "Oh, you lied about that. You said something over here. I kind of question what you're actually saying. You know, because you said something here, but you said another sentence over here, and it kind of doesn't exactly line up." But it's like if you put that same standard to yourself, Candace, it doesn't seem like you always line up. It doesn't seem like you always are completely or 100% saying the exact same thing in every sentence. Some people are they color something a little bit different over here. Like that, I guess that's the whole issue of lying. You shouldn't lie. You should tell the truth. I think so. I think we all agree with that. People should tell the truth and be honest. I don't know why anybody would be surprised she's a serial turncoat. Yeah. Candace Owens, I really got on her, like, I always actually liked her for many years. I respected her, and it's just within the last 9 months, this whole thing with Turning Point USA and her analysis and breakdown of this whole conversation has really turned me off of Candace Owens. It's been a struggle for me and watching her and hearing her, because I think when you get where you feel like someone is not telling you the truth and someone's just using your attention, using your view to just spread something that's a lie, or because it is like a complete grift that she has fallen under. She is just following after a grift. Whatever way it opens up, like if this stops getting views and stops getting attention, I think she would be perfectly happy to say, I was wrong about all that. I'm moving on to the next thing. She doesn't care. And that's why I think most people want to get inside her mind and say, like, what's actually going on in there? What is driving you? What is pushing you to believe these things and to say all these things? And we saw with this debate with Andrew Wilson, she had no problem with saying, I don't need to defend anything I've said. This is my show. This is my podcast. I can say whatever I want. And it's like, yes, you can. Obviously you can. Anybody can. And we agree with that. But I mean, it is the Spider-Man sense that, like, with if you are given a lot, a great responsibility. I butchered that, but Spider-Man's uncle or whatever, you all know what I'm talking about. She has a major platform, a major microphone. So she should be able to defend what she's saying. It shouldn't be, I can say whatever. I can poison people's minds, because that is what it's come to. Like, we are living in different realities, and and I think most people aren't like locked in and tuned into all this. We can have passionate views, but we can still be alongside other people that we disagree vehemently, and we just don't bring these things up. We don't talk them out. But some people, and what's sad about with Candace Owens and with her following, because I'm betting a lot of her following are good conservative women and some men. But like they're going after something because it's like their lives are becoming a soap opera. That it's not like attached. It is a psychosis. At this point, it is a psychosis that they're like detached from reality. And that's where she's at. And that's where she's leading so many people to follow. And there is like, when you're given much, there is a responsibility that comes with it. Much is expected. I'm butchering this. Like, there's Jesus said something like that, but then also Spider-Man said something like that. Or in the movie Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, she has this major platform. She should be a little bit more guarded and careful with what she is spreading, because it is like determining the direction of our country in a sad, scary way. It is. It's like so many people are going in this direction that it's just. I am a little bit like, I'm not going to be like gay or whatever. Say I'm frightened, but like, it is weird. It is odd. And like, how long is this going to go on? Is it if Charlie Kirk's the person who assassinated him turns out to be Tyler Robinson, she's going to say, oh yeah, it was, that's how it happened. And I agree with it. There's no way whatsoever, if her audience wants it and wants her to attack more Erika Kirk or attack more TPUSA or whatever, she's gonna continue to do that because she's chasing money. She's not chasing truth. Like, let us be clear. She is not chasing truth or going where the truth leads. She's going where the money leads. Like that over and over, that we are seeing that. And I'm disappointed, like how far this has gotten, because I at each month you're like, it's gotta simmer down, it's gotta slow down, it's gotta change up, it's gotta be different. Like, it's not gonna continue going like this. There's no way, but it does. And I knew going into this debate, I knew this is who I think won. If it hasn't come across yet, I do believe Andrew Wilson demolished her in this debate, like without question, just destroyed her. Like, if from just a point, if we just had transcripts and we weren't watching it at all and just had the transcripts of each person, what they said, like, Andrew Wilson, like, destroyed her. Like, just logical points and reasoning and defending your position, there's no question. But when you get into, like, what the riz that Candace Owens has, that charisma, that audience capture, of being able to, I mean, and you can tell she's not necessarily on her game. She was not on her game here. I could tell, like, and she's pregnant. She's pregnant. And she's probably going through a lot. Like, she's a lot's on her mind. She's carrying the world on her shoulders. And like, in a weird way, she kind of is. She sees that the world is revolving around her, and it's hard not to say that it isn't. It feels like it is, but I know everybody, there are all different people out there, like Elon Musk or whatever, like Donald Trump, everybody, when you get up into these like kind of like high pillars of society, it would be hard not to drink your own Kool-Aid. But I'm just like, overall, I think Candace Owens, if it was just flowery language and winning the audience, winning the crowd, win your freedom, if it was all just that, I mean, maybe Candace Owens, but just substance of the debate and how Andrew Wilson went from point to point and drawing out of Candace Owens through the Tyler Robbins thing. I think we all have questions about that. Him being a patsy, him being the actual killer. What happened? Like, was he shot from a 30-06 from hundreds of yards away from a rooftop, or was there an explosion? I think we all know there was not an explosion. There was not an exploding mic. There was something but penetrated in his throat that was more than likely a bullet. I think we can. That is where the evidence leads, and it's like there would have to be so many people involved to think to pull this over our eyes and try to trick us. And I mean, I'm not going to say that's out of the realm of possibility. Our government does sneaky, shady things all the time. It does, but man, this is way too crazy. Way too crazy. And the whole Joe Rogan thing, him speaking up and saying he's starting to side more with Candace, that is such BS. That is such BS. He is not. I firmly believe he is not. There is no freaking way that Joe Rogan is starting to believe a little bit on Candace Owens. He, in a sad, scary way, Joe Rogan, I see, and the way that I'm looking at this, he's fallen away more and more from Christianity, it feels like. He's turning back into some of his older ways, and he's seen that Candace Owens is a person that he's probably going to have back on his show. He just had Andrew Wilson, so he doesn't need to placate to him. He doesn't need to sound reasonable to Andrew Wilson because he just had Andrew Wilson on his show 2 times in 1 year, and they got through all this, and all this got the ball rolling with him. But he knows that the future is probably Candace Owens. In a scary, sad way, the future is Candace Owens, which is this, our minds are being melted. Like, if you are seriously locked in and tuned into her, and you're not just like, I'm going to sell my soul and give over and just join the crowd and just, woo, let's go, baby. Let's go, Candace. If you're not doing that and you still want to keep your brain and actually be logical, you will like rip your hair out. You will be torn because it's like you would have to sell your soul or just like check your mind at the door because you cannot believe the things that she's spouting. You're like stepping into a movie, a thriller, a mystery, a romantic like love drama when you're watching her. And I think that's why the women like it. They love it. You know, they love her. She's got riz. She's got such personality. Nobody can dispute that. But she does not have the truth and she does not have the facts. And I think that is what most of the guys, you know, and this is where the bifurcation of where we're going. Some people are going with, I'm going to go with the views, the attention. You know, I want to be a name on the internet people recognize. I want to go with the crowd, popularity. Or do I want to, you know, maybe put that aside and that attention of people liking you and maybe go where the truth is. Maybe go where reality is happening. Like, because I mean, it is fun to be involved in conspiracy because it's always titillating. But it's like, at what point, man? At what point is it like, you just got to make a decision. It's a fork in the road. And I think a lot of people are just going with, you know, it's fun, it's funny. They're okay with just selling their soul. And that's what it is. It's not necessarily any singular act that is selling your soul, but the acts that you do are a revelation of where your soul is at. And it's not like that people that are believing in Candace and following this and doing all this that are like, they have no chance of, you know, they're gone. They're forever, you know, rest in peace, the kind of thing. But it is kind of like, it's a demonstration of where you're at. It's the same way like when the Jews and Jesus came along, the Jews that rejected him, Jesus said, if God was your father, you would love me. Like if you're on the side of truth, when truth is staring you in the eye, you're going to follow the truth. And it's like, this is like a matter of like good and evil, truth and falsehood, like, I know it becomes like a show, a drama. Like it's just exciting. We can just talk whatever. It's like a sports game. Do you catch what happened? I guess I'm mixing analogies. Like but like a soap opera and a sports game. Like did you check the game out last night? Did you see that? Or did you see what happened on Grey's Anatomy last night? I can't believe that. It's like it's mixing those things. It's making that movie like fun vibe of whatever that is just not tethered to reality, that is fantasy, and you're like stepping into that. You're stepping into this simulation that you're creating. That Candace Owens is creating a simulation, and she has just got everybody plugged in. Every show, she's plugging them in and saying, you're going to believe the Matrix. You are sucked into the Matrix, and I'm going to tell you where to go. I'm going to put this wool over your eyes so you don't see the truth. And that's kind of what is happening every episode and every day that she's going along with this. At this point, we cannot take her seriously. I cannot take her seriously. It's not that Andrew Wilson has everything right. He's like a perfect man or anything like that. But I do respect his willingness and eagerness to challenge Candace Owens on a big stage like this. Like this is one of the biggest stages we've seen in a long, long time. So at the end of the day, Candace Owens may have won moments, but Andrew Wilson won the debate. He presented arguments, explained his reasoning, and directly defended his position. Candace raised questions and delivered a few effective gotchas, but she never established a credible chain of evidence connecting Erika Kirk, TPUSA, Israel, or the French government to Charlie Kirk's assassination. And that's the real difference. Suspicion can begin an investigation, but it cannot become the conclusion without evidence. Unfortunately, I don't believe many minds were changed. Andrew's audience will see this as a decisive victory. I see it as a decisive victory. While Candace's supporters will continue believing she exposed something deeper. But if we're judging purely by who defended their claims more effectively, this wasn't even close. Let me know who you believe won, and more importantly, what was the strongest piece of evidence presented by either side? All right, we'll leave it at that. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and drop a comment, smash the like button, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one.